members of Congress, and my fellow Americans. Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
U.S. President Donald Trump gave an upbeat assessment of the country in his State of the Union address to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday. It comes as the White House seeks to firm up support among Republican voters ahead of November's midterm election. Trump spoke in detail about the economy, suggesting his aides who have been pushing him for weeks to do so have prevailed for now.
Inflation is plummeting, incomes are rising fast, the roaring economy is roaring like never before.
He offered a broad-based sweep of kitchen table issues: housing, healthcare, utility bills, crime, and retirement. But it was a missed opportunity to connect with voters, according to Brandon Roninghaus, a professor of political science at the University of Houston.
He had a pretty long list of items he had passed, and what Republicans had needed him to do was to be more present and front and center in terms of selling some of the items from the mega bill or the big beautiful bill. This included tax cuts and an enhanced child credit and the no tax on tip policy. These are things that people definitely can lean into economically. Talking about tariffs and talking about the way that the economy is winning and that the country is hot may have fallen on deaf ears for a lot of Americans.
One of the most asked questions going into Trump's speech was whether he would finally make a detailed case for war against Iran, elaborating on the reason for the major U.S. military buildup in the Middle East. He didn't mention Iran until well over an hour into his speech, and he resorted to his standard talking points, saying it was imperative to keep a bomb out of Tehran's hands.
My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
The president was measured when it came to the conflict in Iran. He definitely didn't saber rattle. He didn't make threats. This is a different Donald Trump than we've seen on social media and from the statements from the White House. That probably gave the American people a little bit of a sigh of relief, but it doesn't absolve the fact that this is still a very hot situation. And the president has to convince people that this is in the nation's best interest.
Trump used his speech to try to reclaim the narrative on immigration. While that issue was once a key political strength, it has morphed into a weakness in recent months amid a backlash against the high-profile killings of 2 U.S. citizens by immigration agents and a mass deportation drive that has proven more popular in theory than in practice.
After 4 years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far.
He took a lot of time in the speech to talk about immigration, especially undocumented immigration, and that was definitely a sellable and winnable argument for Republicans. He was able to dramatize that and connect that to some of the personal elements in American politics. He excoriated the Democrats for not being strong enough on that issue, and he was able to loop in the problems of the Biden administration, which even Democrats admit was problematic. That's an issue in which the president can win, and it's obvious that's going to be where they try to make a stand going forward.
That is a return to form for Trump, who got a lot of traction with his arguments on immigration in the 2024 election.